It's Wulf, and it's a 15 first impressions. This one is about Asphalt Legends Unite on PlayStation 5. Now keep in mind, even though this was recorded on PlayStation 5, so was originally recorded in 4K, this video is only in 1080p. I will explain why later on. It is a surprise, it's a very interesting one, trust me, you guys will want to find out. So anyway though, Asphalt is a game franchise that initially started on mobile devices, and if I remember right, has actually been around for quite a while. More recently, some of the Asphalt games, including this one, and I think maybe some others. I'm not totally sure if it's just this one or possibly some other games. But anyway, Asphalt has found its way onto console. This version of the game, Asphalt Legends Unite on PS5, is very clearly originally a mobile game. It's one of those games that you can tell just by the way the menus are set up and stuff that this started out on mobile. And sometimes the menus in this game can actually be a little bit tough to navigate because of that. Because a lot of mobile games, they can kind of put buttons wherever they want on the screen, because if you're playing on a mobile device, they're usually touch screen and you can put a button wherever you want because somebody can just tap the screen there. But when it comes to console games or PC games, a lot of the times you want your menu layouts to be more linear because designed for like a controller. I guess on computer that doesn't necessarily count because you have a mouse, but in general when you're putting something on a console you want stuff to be easier to navigate with a controller, and the menu in this game can be a little weird to navigate because it was not initially designed with that in mind, I don't think. And there are various other aspects of this game too that very clearly came from mobile game stuff and also free-to-play game stuff. But we'll get to that in a minute. I want to talk about the graphics and gameplay first. So this game is a lot of fun. This game is very fun, and the graphics of it are quite good. The graphics are not necessarily like the most stunning thing ever. You know, again, started as a mobile game. Also, this version of the game, I believe, came out on some older consoles and stuff. So like the graphics are not necessarily the most like realistic, you know, ultra perfect or anything, but they are very sharp and sparkly and bright and colorful, and the game is just a lot of fun to look at. And I mean, they look really good in 4K for, you know, a game that is also playable on phones. Although I guess a lot of phones nowadays have like 4K or even 8K screens too. Anyway, gameplay wise, this game is also really good. It reminds me a lot of arcade games. The thing that comes to mind when playing this game is Cruisin' Blast. I did a playthrough of Cruisin' Blast a while ago, and the way that Asphalt Legends Unite is set up reminds me a lot of arcade racing games, as in like literal games that you would find in the arcade, because a lot of the tracks, or probably all the tracks, are set up in kind of a very linear way. There's not really like, you can't really like turn around. I mean, you probably could, but that's not really the way it's designed. The tracks are designed to keep you pushing forward all the time, and also, the way the cars feel is very light, and I mean, they spin around, they smack into each other and stuff. So very arcade racer type stuff, and specifically reminds me of games you would find in an actual arcade. It also reminds me a little bit of Burnout because of the way that you're kind of encouraged to smash into your competitors' cars and stuff. And also the physics of the cars feel kind of similar to Burnout. So overall, a lot of various aspects of actual racing gameplay that I really, really like. The car roster in this game is also very, very cool. There's a lot of cars in this game, and if you guys have seen my video that I made not too long ago about the weird cars in Drive Club, and how Drive Club had a bunch of like unique cars that aren't really in many other things, you might remember in that video I kept saying that if there was anywhere else you were going to find these cars, it was going to be in Asphalt. And there are even more strange cars in Asphalt. There is a huge roster of cars. There are a lot of like concept cars. There's a bunch of cars from companies that I've never heard of, which I always find interesting, and it's just a really good roster. Now that being said, since it is free to play, I don't know how much of a pain it could be to unlock some of those cars, because I know that free to play games, especially free to play racing games, can make it very, very challenging to unlock the cool cars, or very like you have to spend a lot of time and money sometimes to do it in these games. I played that Need for Speed mobile game for a while in college pretty consistently, and like never unlocked anything because you almost always had to spend money for it, and Asphalt seems similarly set up. So that being said, I think it is time to get to the downfall of this game, which is that it is very much a free-to-play mobile game. So it's set up to try to make you spend money in a lot of ways. For one, it has a fuel system, so every race that you compete in with a car, that car loses a chunk of fuel. So for like the Mitsubishi Lancer that you unlock at the beginning of the game, there are 6 pieces of fuel, or 6 sections of fuel. Every race you do, you lose a section of fuel, and then after you use all those sections, you'd have to wait however many minutes for it to recharge. It says 5 minutes on the screen when I was playing. I didn't play enough to actually run out of fuel, but I don't know if that increases over time and I don't know if that fills up all 6 bars or just 1 bar at a time. So anyway, that's kind of annoying, because then if you run out of fuel in all of your vehicles, you're gonna have to literally wait to play the game unless you want to spend money to refuel the car again. And also, it can make it so you have to use cars that you don't necessarily want to use for a given race if you're out of fuel in the car that you want to use. The thing is, I remember a couple years ago, I played this game also, and back then had almost the same exact thoughts, where I was like, oh, this game is a lot of fun, but kind of a pain to actually play because of the way that it's set up for monetization and stuff. I tried to look to see if this game has one of those like purchase everything options to make it sort of like a normal game purchase. Like I think Smite has or used to have that, where you could pay, I remember a long time ago, it was like $60, so like the price of a full game at the time, and you would unlock like all of the gods available in Smite. I tried to look up to see if there's anything similar for this game, and I couldn't really find anything, which is kind of annoying because I really do like Asphalt, and I wish that there was a way to just like, here's my money for this game, so that way I can play it like a normal video game and not have to worry about running out of gas and all that type of stuff. But it doesn't look like that's like a possibility for this game. So overall, I'd say that my final thoughts on Asphalt Legends Unite, at least within the first 15 minutes of playing, can be summarized with the fact that it's a really fun game, but the way that monetization works and the way that progress is locked up and everything makes it frustrating to play, or at least seems like it will be frustrating to play. But anyway, as I mentioned earlier, this video has a surprise to it. So normally I use a computer to make my videos, but I decided to do something a little bit different with this video, and actually I wasn't even planning on doing a 15 first impressions on Asphalt Legends Unite, but I wanted an excuse to make a video in this way. So I have actually recorded and edited this entire video using just an iPad and a couple other accessories. So I recorded it using my Elgato 4KX, I'm still using my Blue Yeti microphone, I have some headphones on as I'm recording this, but I wouldn't normally do that if I could get the sound output to work with me. Anyway, my point is, I have not used a computer at all for this video except to upload it. I'm going to upload it using my computer because I think it'll just work a little bit better. But otherwise, recording and editing this video was completely done on an iPad, which I think is incredible because I remember when I was younger and like mobile devices would not have been capable of something like this. I got a kind of cheap iPad mini. It's like a 2021 iPad mini a couple days ago, and I've just been messing around with it, and I found out that you can record using an Elgato device on here, that there's Elgato software on the App Store, which is ironic, I think, that they have Elgato software for iPad OS, but not for Mac OS. You have to use Open Broadcaster software. But anyway, so I've been messing around with it, and I realized, I could do that. I could use GarageBand like I use on the computer. I could use DaVinci Resolve like I use on my computer. Like, all of the programs are there. So I'm still in the process of trying this, but it seems to be going all right. And before I forget, I also want to mention I'm also using an Apple Pencil for this video. This whole setup was, it's not like cheap, but I got it for pretty cheap because the iPad that I bought has some scratches on the screen, but luckily the type of scratches that you can't really see when the screen is on, so that was cheaper than usual. And this Apple Pencil I got from my wonderful girlfriend because she was no longer in need of it, and it's actually, I think, like a Generation 2 Apple Pencil, so you could probably do this without an Apple Pencil, but the Apple Pencil just makes it a lot easier to click on stuff. So anyway, that was just an interesting little extra for this video that I wanted to mention, and we will see how it turns out in the end. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in other stuff in the future. Here's the rest of the gameplay, and this was a fun experiment of a video to make. Bye-bye.
Bismillah. Showing living by the G code. What the f is fleek though? Don't ask them, what do he know? What I forgot is better than whatever they remember. Never mind, I'm off it. It's quiet.
Take a look around me, taking pages from the magazine. Been looking for the answers ever since we were 17. You know if truth can be a weapon to fight this world of it.
Godspeed for the last time. My rear views like my past life. My beam is mad that I'm too fast. Curious when I zoom past. Bite the dust while I dash. The villain gets the last laugh. Thought I had the white hat, but I did some dirt, now it's black. Who gon' smoke? I got gas. Who gon' choke? Who gon' gag? Who gon' boast? Who gon' brag? Who on most of this rap when I goes in my path? So I guess
Run fast as I can. You know where I'm going, you know who I am. Not one to say that I can't. Threatening me, drawing lines in the sand. Adrenaline is pumping, all or nothing, feel it coming. Hear my heartbeat thundering, you're still wondering where it's coming from.